Her hands only trembled a little, but you could feel the electricity in a room as the words "sentenced to death" bounced off those cold marble walls. It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop, or maybe just the sound of people holding their breath. Try not to look at her, not even at the big dog sitting near the back, staring straight ahead like he understood every word. You want to know the funny thing? A year ago, Sarah Mills was the hero of this town, the kind of cop folks sent pies at Christmas, the one you called when things went bad. But now, a jury called her a murderer and half the town was out for blood. Crazy how fast things turn on you? Yeah, that happened. You see, Sarah wasn't alone on the beat. Her partner was Rex, a German shepherd who was more like a brother than a dog, if you ask her. They'd spent years running into burning buildings, chasing suspects down dark alleys, scraping by on black coffee and the promise of overtime. But now all that history didn't count for squat. They said Sarah broke into a house with no warrant, chased some guy who didn't even have a weapon, and shot him just like that. Defense couldn't do a damn thing. Key video? Gone. Body cam? Corrupted. Every witness seemed to remember things different or not at all. You ever seen people vanish like that when the stakes are life or death? Makes you think. But the wildest part? Sarah never pointed fingers, didn't drag down her partners, didn't cry about dirty politics, just sat there, stone-faced, like she was ready to take whatever came. Maybe that's why the verdict came quick and the sentence quicker. Outside, you could hear people yelling, some shouting for justice, some screaming her name, begging for mercy, but inside, it was like the world stopped spinning. They pumped gas into the chamber, and Sarah barely blinked. I'll never forget that. But you know who did react? Rex. While everyone else played their roles, judge, jury, executioner, Rex let out this low, aching whine that cut through all the fake order and high talk. If you ever heard a soul breaking, that was it. They hauled Sarah off in cuffs. And Rex, well, they dragged him away, too. No last look, no goodbye. Just a leash and a quick order. Take him a canine holding. You could tell that dog understood more than anyone gave him credit for. At the facility, Rex went from top dog to lost cause overnight. Wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, wouldn't even bark at the mailman, just lay there with those big eyes open, waiting for someone only he remembered. The trainers tried everything. Tennis balls, hot dogs, even this old blanket that used to be his favorite, but he wasn't interested. Days passed. Nights dragged on. Sometimes he'd just sit by the door, stiff as a statue, like he was listening for a voice he'd never hear again. Some folks started whispering, maybe he's broken, but one old handler name was Mike, gray beard, boots older than half the new recruits, he said, no, he's just loyal, that's all. Never seen it this bad. Even when a young rookie left the kennel gate unlatched by accident, Rex didn't budge. Not then. But then, one stormy night, everything changed. Thunder shaking the rafters, lights flickering, and for the first time since Sarah left, Rex moved. He slipped right out, quiet as a ghost, through doors left ajar by a careless rookie. By the time anyone noticed, he was already gone, not running wild, not looking for food or a warm spot, but heading for the courthouse. Yeah, he remembered the way, and more than that, he remembered where they'd taken Sarah after the verdict. Let me back up a sec, Kay. 9 training isn't just about sitting or fetching sticks. Rex had run drills from that courthouse to the old county jail 100 times. He knew every turn, every scent on the wind, every place a scared person might hide. It wasn't luck, it was loyalty, pure and simple, driving him on. Meanwhile, Sarah was spending her last hours in a gray cell, staring at nothing. The world thought she was done, for no hope, no appeal, just waiting for the clock to run out. That's when she heard a bark, at first so faint she thought she was losing her mind, but then louder, desperate, unmistakable. It was Rex. Before she could shout, alarms went off, guards rushing, radios crackling, boots slamming concrete. There's a dog in the building, someone yelled, and then, out of nowhere, this wet, muddy blur slid to a stop right outside Sarah's cell. He pressed his body against the bars, whining like a lost kid, and for a split second, the whole world came rushing back to life. Sarah dropped to her knees, tears streaming, whispering, Rex, you came, and something in her eyes snapped back into focus. Hope. That's what you call it, I guess. The guards didn't know what to do, guns up, hands shaking, but even they had to pause. Rex wasn't growling for blood. He was guarding his partner. Then the warden showed up, big man, voice like a sledgehammer, not used to being questioned. He stared at Rex, then at Sarah, and asked, "This your dog?" Sarah nodded. "He's my family," she said. And for the first time, the warden seemed to really look at her not as a criminal, not as a case, but as a person. The moment hung in the air, thick with something nobody could quite put a name to doubt. Maybe, or just the weight of what they were doing. Here's where it gets wild. One of the guards, a woman new to the job, lowered her weapon. "He's not here to hurt anyone," she said, and just like that, the whole energy shifted. Rex stood tall, ready to take on the world if he had to, and suddenly it wasn't about crime or punishment anymore. It was about faith, about second chances. Word spread fast. Someone snapped a photo, Rex pressed against the bars, Sarah on the other side, hands wrapped tight around his fur. Next day, that picture was everywhere. People started talking, arguing maybe she was innocent, maybe the system made a mistake. Then, out of nowhere, an anonymous tip came in. New evidence, missing files, corrupted footage traced to a certain officer who'd always had it out for Sarah. Turns out, she'd been framed, and the proof was right there on a hard drive someone tried to bury. The case got reopened. Courtroom was packed, tension so thick you could cut it. The judge looked straight at Sarah, and then at Rex, who sat there wearing his old badge like a medal. "All charges dropped," he finally said. Just like that, Sarah was free, and this time, when she walked out, she didn't look back. The crowd erupted. Reporters shouted her name, but she just dropped to one knee and hugged Rex, whispering, "You saved me. Tell me you didn't feel that." A few weeks later, Sarah moved to a quiet little town. No more sirens, no more courtrooms, just a small house and a new life. She started a center for retired K-9s, helping them heal, giving them the peace they deserved. Rex was always there, head held high, watching every door, as if nothing bad could ever happen again. Sometimes people would come by just to see them, the woman who beat the system and the dog who never gave up. But let's be real, not everyone bought the happy ending. Some still said she got off easy, some wanted someone to blame, and you know what? Maybe that's just life, messy, complicated, full of twists nobody sees coming. So I'll leave you with this: when everything you believe is put on trial, and loyalty is all you've got left, who would fight for you like Rex did? You think justice was served, or did the system just get lucky this time? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear where you stand, because stories like this, they don't end when the credits roll. They start all over again with the next decision, the next act of courage, or the next loyal friend who refuses to walk away.